I did a test. I took 3 fishermen who were always complaining about coming home empty-handed. I taught each of them only one of these techniques that I'm about to show you. Their first catch after that? The guy who used to catch 0 fish in a whole day came back with 17. 17! And he only used the first technique. The other 2 are even more brutal. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any secrets from old-school fishermen that the industry doesn't want you to know. Because what I'm going to show you here will put an end to this story of going home empty-handed. And the best part? You already have everything you need at home to do it right now. My grandfather used to fish in the San Francisco River in the 1950s. He told me that back then, coming back empty-handed was a laughingstock. People would laugh at you, because everyone knew these 3 techniques I'm going to teach you. Everyone! It wasn't a closely guarded secret. It was basic knowledge passed down from father to son. A fisherman who didn't master at least one of these techniques was considered an amateur. 10-year-olds already knew how to prepare them. But then came the 1970s, and everything changed. Fishing magazines stopped publishing them. Stores started pushing expensive artificial lures, and these 3 techniques simply disappeared from conversations. Today, you go into a fishing store, and the salesperson doesn't even know they exist. Ask him about fermented dough with coarse salt. You'll see the look on his face. He'll try to sell you a 5-reel packet that won't even catch a small fish. Out in the Pantanal, there are still some old people who use it. In the interior of Minas Gerais, in some hidden streams, there are people who have kept it alive. But these are exceptions. The vast majority of fishermen today depend 100% on what the store sells. And then it's a situation. They spend a fortune, come back empty-handed, and think the problem is with them. It's not. The problem is that they taught you wrong on purpose. Because these 3 techniques I'm going to show you cost pennies. Literally, pennies. The first one you make with bread that was going to be thrown away. The second, with earthworms that you raise yourself. The third, with any small fish you catch. And they work better than any store-bought bait you've ever used in your life. Now, listen carefully. I'm going to teach you all 3 the right way. The way my grandfather taught me. The way the locals of the San Francisco River did it. First technique, bread dough with garlic and coarse salt. Take that stale French bread that was going to be thrown away anyway. The older, the better. Soak it completely in a bowl of warm water. Let it soak for about 5 minutes. Then squeeze it well, removing as much water as you can. It should be a moist dough, but not dripping. Add 3 well-crushed cloves of garlic. Not supermarket garlic powder. Real garlic, crushed in a mortar and pestle or pounded with a knife. A heaping tablespoon of coarse salt. Not fine salt. Real coarse salt, the kind used for barbecues. And now comes the secret that nobody tells you. You need all this for 10 minutes, not 2 or 3 minutes. 10 minutes of kneading forcefully. This activates the gluten in the bread, making the dough sticky like glue. It won't come off the hook even in the current. To use it, you take a ball of dough the size of a large olive. Wrap it around the entire hook, leaving only the tip exposed. The dough must cover all the way to the shank. Then you do something that seems silly, but makes a huge difference. With your fingernail, you make 3 scratches on the surface of the dough, like 3 lines. This creates channels through which the smell of garlic escapes faster into the water. The fish detect it from afar. This technique catches tilapia, carp, pacu, piapara, curimbata, piau, any catfish or scaled fish that feeds on the bottom. Cost, less than 50 cents per day of fishing. A store-bought bait to catch the same fish. 7, 8 Rs for a small packet. And it even comes with artificial dye that scares the fish away in clean water. Second technique, Fermented earthworms with bran. This one is for big catfish, pintado, cachara, jurapoca. These fish only eat carrion, the more rotten, the better. You buy earthworms. Not the common small earthworms. It's earthworms, the big ones that are also used for tilapia. A 500-gram cup costs 3 reais. With that, you can easily catch 3 or 4 times. Take an empty 2-liter ice cream container. Throw the earthworms in there. Add 3 tablespoons of wheat bran. It can be bran of any kind, but wheat works best. A teaspoon of brown sugar. And here comes the part that separates amateur from professional. You leave this container semi-open. Don't close the lid completely. Leave a gap for air to enter, and store it in a warm place. It can be on top of the refrigerator, on a high shelf, in a corner that gets morning sun. In 3 days it starts to stink. It really stinks. Your wife will complain. But it's that smell that attracts catfish from miles away. In a week, the worms become soft, dark, with a slime all over them. Perfect. That's exactly how they should be. You use them on the hook like regular worms, but the smell is 10 times stronger. And there's another trick. When you take the worm out of the container, don't clean the slime. Leave it all sticky. This slime spreads in the water and acts as a scent trail. Total cost? 3 reais for worms, 50 cents for bran, about 20 cents for sugar. 3 reais and 70 cents for you to fish for a whole month. Do you know how much those industrial catfish baits cost? 12, 15 reais for the small bottle. And they have a short expiration date. Third technique, live bait with a strategic cut. This is the deadliest of all for predators. Traíra, tucunaré, black bass, dogfish, any carnivore that attacks by ambush. You fish for a lambari, a piaba, any tiny fish. Ideal size, between 5 and 8 centimeters. Smaller than that doesn't attract attention. Larger than that, only giant predators will want it. Here comes the secret that the ancients knew and that nobody does anymore. You make a small cut in the lambari's belly. It's not to kill it. It's just a half-centimeter cut with the tip of a sharp knife or scissors, near the pectoral fin on the left side. This makes the lambari release blood and fluids into the water. These fluids contain stress pheromones, amino acids, proteins. Predators detect this from an absurd distance. The lambari, small freshwater fish, is still alive. It's still swimming. But now it's swimming erratically, somewhat unbalanced, leaving this chemical trail in the water. For a tucunaré, peacock bass, or traíra, wolf fish, this is a target illuminated with red neon that says, "Eat here." You put the hook in through its mouth, it comes out through its gills, or you can enter through its back near the dorsal fin. Let it swim freely with about 2 meters of line, and just wait. An attack comes in less than 5 minutes if there's a predator in the area. Cost? 0. You caught the lambari right there. If you want to be more sophisticated, take some lambari from home in a bucket with an aerator. 10 lambari cost 2 reais at the market. With 10, you can fish all day. Artificial lure for tucunaré? 20, 30, 40 reais each. And you lose them to branches, rocks, snags. You lose money every time. Now let's understand why this works so well. Fish have a sensory system that we can't even imagine. Their lateral line detects vibrations in the water meters away. Each erratic movement of injured prey creates a specific wave pattern. They evolved over millions of years to recognize this pattern. It's pure instinct. When you use live bait with a cut, you're not deceiving the fish. You're giving it exactly what it's looking for. Vulnerable prey, easy to catch, releasing chemical stress signals. The fish's sense of smell detects an amino acid molecule dissolved in billions of water molecules. That's right, they smell better than dogs. When you use dough with garlic and coarse salt, you're bombarding the water with sulfur compounds from the garlic. These compounds spread with the current and activate the olfactory receptors of fish 50, 100 meters away. Coarse salt does something else. It creates an osmotic gradient. The water around the bait becomes saltier. Fish detect the change in salinity and go to investigate. Because in rivers, saltier water usually means organic decomposition. It means food. And fermented earthworms? That's pure chemical bomb. During fermentation, bacteria break down the proteins in the earthworm and bran into free amino acids. These amino acids dissolve in the water and create a trail that catfish follow like hounds. There are scientific studies that show catfish detect concentrations of 0.001% of certain amino acids. It's microscopic sensitivity. Your industrial bait doesn't have that. It has dye, preservatives, synthetic aromas that imitate poorly, very poorly. Fish aren't stupid. They know how to differentiate real food from smelly plastic. And here's the math that will make you angry. Let's calculate. Bread dough, 50 cents a day. You fish 4 times a month. 2 rays a month. Fermented worms, 3 rays and 70 cents. Lasts a month easily. Live bait, 2 rays for small fish or 0 if you catch them. Monthly total, less than 6 rays. Now, take an average fisherman who buys bait at the store. Package of industrial dough, 7 reais. Lasts 1 fishing trip, 2 if you're economical. Artificial lure for peacock base, 30 reais on average. You lose 2 a month to branches, 60 reais. Industrial catfish bait, 15 reais a container. You use 1.5 containers a month, 22 reais and 50 cents. Just in these 3 categories. 7 plus 60 plus 22 and 50 fried eat, 89 reais and 50 cents per month. Against your 6 reais. You save 83 reais and 50 cents every month. In a year? 1,002 reais. 1,000 reais. That's enough to buy a good rod, a good reel, renew all your tackle, just with the savings on bait. But look, there's more. These traditional techniques catch more fish, many more, because they are natural baits with real smell, real taste, texture that the fish recognize. While you're there with your store-bought bait catching 2 or 3 small fish, the guy who knows these 3 techniques is taking 20, 30 home. It's not an exaggeration. It's reality. Ask your grandfather. Ask the old men by the river. They will confirm it. And then you understand why the industry doesn't sell this. You can't package fresh bread dough. It spoils in 2 days. You can't sell fermented worms. The smell would scare away customers from the store. And live bait with cuts? Impossible to commercialize. It has to be done on the spot. The fishing industry generates billions. Billions! And their business model depends on you buying repeatedly. If you learn to make your own bait, you break out of the system. You become independent. And independent customers don't generate profit. That's why they created this whole culture that bait has to be bought. It has to be branded. It has to be expensive. Lies. It's all lies built on marketing and advertising. Your grandfather caught 10-kilo dorado with cassava dough and salt. Your great-grandfather caught 1.5-meter long pintado with sour chicken gut. They didn't have 200 real Rapala lures. They didn't have imported soft bait. And they caught more fish than any modern fisherman. Now, pay attention. The next time you go fishing, do the following. Separate your equipment into 2 groups. On one rod, put the bait you always use, the store-bought kind. On the other, use one of these 3 techniques I taught you. It can be whichever you find easiest. Stay in the same place, same depth, same time, and compare. Write down how many strikes you had on each rod, how many fish you caught, how many you lost, how many you landed. Do this for 3 outings. If the traditional bait doesn't win hands down in all 3, I'll remove my name from this channel. But that won't happen, because these techniques have been tested for decades by thousands of fishermen in hundreds of different rivers. They work because the biology of the fish hasn't changed. They continue to respond to the same stimuli as always. Keep these techniques. Practice them. Teach them to your children. Because this knowledge almost died. It was almost completely erased by the industry. The old-timers who knew it are dying. And if we don't rescue this now, in 10 years, nobody will remember anymore. Everyone will think that real fishing is buying expensive bait at the store. Everyone will accept coming back empty-handed as something normal. And it's not. It never was. Poor fishing only exists for those who don't know these secrets. You just learned 3 techniques that guarantee fish on the rod. Use them. Test them. Prove it for yourself. How many times have you returned home frustrated? How many times have you spent a fortune on bait and caught nothing? That ends today. Subscribe to the channel now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next secrets. Leave a like if this video was helpful, and share it with that friend who's always complaining about not catching anything. Comment below which of these 3 techniques you're going to try first. I want to know. And you can be sure, on your next fishing trip, you won't come back empty-handed.